Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Syafitri and I'm from Group 4. We'll explain to you about Unit 3. It's about presentation. And before that, I would like to tell you my members group. They are Rizky Ishar, Zara Afnarwansyah, Yora Alvina, and then the last is Marta Sitohang. Okay, I'm here as a moderator. We'll explain to you in part 1 and part 2. Okay, as we can see in that material, part 1 is vocabulary, and we can see there are 4 slides that we should match with the question below that slide. The first slide is conclusion. It means that slide should be in the last of the presentation. The second slide is introduction. It fills with planning of the slide. And then next is the first slide. As we know that first slide, it should be in the first of the slide or in the first of that presentation. And then the last is a diagram slide that fill it with several diagrams or several information about that material in that presentation. Okay, after we identified all of the picture, all of the slides, and we can know that the answer of the questions, and the A1 is first slide. As we can see in that material, that relating with the first slide is number 3. And the next B, planning the slide, we can see in that material, it's in slide 2, introduction. And then diagram slide is number 4. And the last final slide is number 1, because it's a conclusion. Okay, now we move to the number 2. Listen to these words and underline the part that is stressed in each one. Number 1 is introduce. It already underlined, and that part is where is the stress of these words. Okay, next to number 2, presentation. The stress is the last of the words. Attention, presentation, and it's different with present. It's not different with the word present. The stress is also in the end of the word present, but it's different in the word present as a noun. Present, present, present. Yeah, that's a difference. So number 3 is suggest. Suggest also have a stress at the end of the word. Suggest, suggest, and also same with the word suggestion. Suggestion, suggestion. Okay. Same with the word suggestion. Suggestion, suggestion. Okay. Number 4 is project. Project is a verb. Project is also have a stress, has a stress at the end of the word. Project, project. And as a noun is also same. As a noun is different because the stress at the end of the word. In the front of the word. Project, 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 project is different, right? But it's same with projector, projector, projector. Okay. Number 5 is inform. Inform has a stress in the first of the word. Inform, inform. Okay. And it's different with the word information because information has a stress in the middle of the word. Information, information. Okay. The last is explained. Explain has a stress at the middle of the word. Explained, explained. Okay. And it also same with the word explanation. Explanation. It's also in the middle of the word.
Let's start to the next part. This is the part 3 in this section. So in this part, we need to choose the correct answer of 2 words that related to short story in this part. So the note in this part is we need to focus and listening carefully about what speaker said in short conversation so we can get an answer. Because in this part, they have the same word and same meaning, but honestly they have a different pronunciation, so we need to listen carefully about what the speaker say. So let's start today audio.
Track 20. So, who's going to do the introduction?
Well, I suggest you present the first part, Farouk. You've done a lot of work on this project after all.
Well, okay, I'll start. But you've got a lot of information too. I think you should explain the next 2 slides.
Okay, let's start to the explanation. The first is, what is the correct answer? Introduce or introduction, and the correct answer is introduction. Why? Because in the first conversation, the man said, who is going to introduction? So the introduction is the correct answer for question number 1. The next is suggest or suggestion. The correct one is suggest. Why? Because in the next conversation, another speaker said that, well, I suggest you to blah blah blah. So the correct answer is suggest. The third is present or present as a noun, and the correct one is present as a noun. Why? Because after he said again that he need to present the first of the topic that they explain. So present as a noun is the correct one. Next is project or project. The correct answer is project as a noun. Why? Because in the next conversation, another speaker said that he done a lot of work that's overall. So the project is the correct one. Number 5 is inform or information. The correct one is information. Why? Because after that, he said that he needs another speaker to get more of information of the topic related to the topic that they present. So the information is the correct one. The last is explain or explanation. The correct answer one is explain, because the last conversation he said that another guy can explain the next 2 slides. So explain is the correct one. Okay, let's continue to the next part. The next part is vocabulary groups. In this part, we can see that there are boxes with a lot of words. So the instruction is, we need to choose words that have a similar meaning of information in the boxes related to the question. The question are diagram, picture, language, disadvantage, and advantage. So we can choose the word in the boxes. There are a similar meaning of diagram, picture, language, disadvantage, and advantage. So for the diagram, we get a plan, chart, graph, and table. For picture, we get image, painting, and photograph. For language, there are Arabic, French, Chinese, and Italian. For advantage, we get a good point, benefit, and pro. And for disadvantage, we get a danger, bad point, and cons.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Zara Afna Wansha. I want to explain about the part 2. Okay, the first question. Italian painting is A, the subject, B, the topic, and C, this course. Let's start. Listen to audio.
Track 21.
Okay, everyone. The first thing we have to decide is our topic. I mean, what exactly are we going to talk about? We know the course is art history, and the subject is Italian painting, but that's still too big. We have to choose a particular topic. What do you think, Mandy?
I think we should concentrate on a single painter.
But on the other hand, if we discuss more than one artist, it'll be easier to make comparisons and show the differences between them.
That's a good idea, Edward. It'll give us more to discuss.
Right. So the next thing is to decide which artists to look at. I think we should definitely include Michelangelo. You know, he painted the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel in Rome. He's very famous. And what about Leonardo da Vinci? They were both great painters. What do you think, Beth?
They're okay, I suppose. But don't you think everyone else will choose them? How about Botticelli? His painting is very different from the other two.
I agree with Beth. Why don't we have Michelangelo and Botticelli?
I'm happy with that. Everyone else okay with it?
Okay. The answer is the B, the topic, because if it taken the subject, it is too bigger, and if it taken the topic is particular topic. I think the answer is B. And the question second, who originally want to discuss one painter? Okay, I listen the audio. From I listen, the speaker asked to opinion from someone, such as Mondi, and then she say, I think increasing of single painter. And Edward, he say we have discussed it. It make a difference. It make an easier comparison and differences, and show different them. I think the answer is Mondi, because she say single painter. The third question, Mondi suggests that the option 1, Michelangelo and Botticelli, the B, Michelangelo, and C, Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci. Let's start the audio. Okay, I think the answer is C, Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci, because the speaker say Michelangelo is very famous and Leonardo da Vinci is very great painting, but Botticelli, explained by Beth, she say Botticelli is painting differences. The fourth question, I think the answer is B. His style of painting is different, because before we listen, I know that Botticelli is painting, and then it is a difference between Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci. So the answer is style of painting is different.
Okay guys, before we continue to part 2, we have to listen the audio.
The first slide's going to be the introduction, isn't it? So I guess it should have a title. How about Michelangelo and Botticelli? A comparison.
Yeah. So we've got the title. Don't you think we should make a list of bullet points for each of the slides in the presentation?
Oh yes, definitely. How many slides do we have to do?
Well, the presentation's 10 minutes long, so we should probably have a maximum of 6 slides. Remember that Beth's already got 2 slides about Botticelli.
Well, why don't we do 2 slides each? That'd be 8, including the introduction and the conclusion.
That sounds fair enough. Let's do that. So, who's going to do the rest of the slides?
I can start off with the introduction, and then I could do the conclusion and the summary at the end. What do you think?
Great. I'd like to talk about Michelangelo's paintings. I've done quite a lot of reading about them.
Fine. So I could do a couple of slides showing how Michelangelo and Botticelli are similar and how they're different.
Okay, in this part, the student will hear the student planning the slide, and they're going to prepare of their group's presentation. So the answer number one is a comparison, because in this presentation the number one is titled Michelangelo and Botticelli, and add the comparison in the last sentence. So we have going to number two. The number two answer is 6, because they have 10 minutes to presentation, so the maximum slide is 6, and they add the conclusion and introduction in this slide. Okay, we continue to number 3 and 4.
Okay guys, we next to number 4, that is the track 24. Before we next to the track, we must to read the question and the answers, and we choose, or we must understand firstly what the question asks for us. Okay, we next to the track.
Track 24. Okay everyone, I've put all our slides together so we can see if we're happy with the presentation. I think we need to check that we all agree with the order. There's nothing to decide about my slides, the introduction and the conclusion. Obviously one of my slides goes at the beginning and the other one at the end. Edward's slides, comparing the two artists, will have to go after Beth's and Mandy's. What we need to decide is which artist should go first, Michelangelo or Botticelli.
Well, Michelangelo is more famous than Botticelli, isn't he? I mean, everyone's heard of him. Maybe he should go first. What do you think, Beth?
I'm not sure that just being famous is a good reason to put him first.
Okay, so isn't it sensible to put the artist who was born earlier first? Who was that? When was Michelangelo born?
In 1475.
And Botticelli?
In 1445.
So let's put Botticelli first and follow with Michelangelo.
I think they advise that who the first for the first slide. So I think the answer is related to A and E. That is because I hear that the most near answer is A. Who to be first at the first slide, and talk about that Miss Lengo must be first. Okay, thank you for the attention.